and welcome back to another episode of Making a Computer in Minecraft. I've done a little bit of work off camera today, not very much, just a tiny bit, where I've added the kill switch, which, if you're confused about what that means, we designed it in an earlier episode, but essentially what it does is it just resets all of our storage. So, yeah, I've added this kill switch, which, as we can hopefully see here, resets all of our storage to being blank. Let's actually make sure of that. Let's check all the cauldrons. Okay. Let's... That's weird. Oh yeah, no, that would definitely do it. Okay, so everything is in the save state. Let's click this button, and I don't know why I was upset. It worked. I don't know why I had such a large sigh, but yeah, so everything worked out. This button is not exactly like a save, unsave one thing. It's more so reset the entire system, but it only really works if it's fully saved. I mean, it works, but it doesn't do what we want it to. So, yeah, we're gonna have to use this sparingly. I probably could design a system where you could specify which one you wanted to unsave, but that would just kind of get confusing, and I feel like it's a waste of time. So, for today, I had the idea of making a slightly larger random access storage, and what that would kind of be is like we can store more variables elsewhere, but now that I'm thinking about that out loud, that seems kind of silly to have like a separate storage unit for the same size and for the same type of information. Essentially what I would do is I would have these wires would run to a different storage unit where we could save data. Yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. So dropping that idea, we should still figure out a system for selecting which of these we want to move on, or basically data selection as we designed in a previous episode. So here's my idea. We build over a little bit, like that, and then maybe right here we have just 3 bits of selection. Now in our original planning we had 8 bits you would choose from, and each of those bits would line up with one of these options. However, we could achieve that same thing with just 3 bits by doing different combinations of them, for example, because there are 8 different combinations that you can have of 3 binary digits. We could have 000, 001, 010, etc. Now, in order to do this, we need to create a system of checking what combination we have, and then from that we have an output, which is that output would then lead to the correct on or off switch. Before that though, we have to super quickly build up this system that I designed for choosing which data point you want to access. I've also decided that since this is all being built in like modules with very repeating patterns, I'm probably just going to try to construct this one as it needs to be, and then I'll just copy paste for the rest of them, since all of these are literally the exact same, except for this one, which is a little bit different, but yeah. Alright, so we have this sector ready to be copy pasted. No we don't, we still need redstone. Alright, now we have it ready, and this is kind of the point where the repetition will stop for the RAM. So I think we are going to just copy paste this, and then we can get into doing some more interesting stuff. Boom. Now, the reason that these are not all going to be the same anymore is because of what I'm going to call binary keys. Binary keys is just the idea of using a binary digit and saying if whatever is equal to this, then do something. So, like, if this is 1, 0, then display 0, 0. If that makes any sense. It's just using binary as a key to do something else. So what we're going to need to do is run these under the system and check for each possibility if the input matches the key. I think once I start making the first one of these, it'll start making a little bit more sense. It might be hard to look at, but maybe you can kind of see the concept of what we're going for here. So the key for this this byte of information is 0, 0, 0. And currently, the panel reads 0, 0, 0. Now if I change that at all, then now our pistons detract, and the data no longer goes in, because it's not the right key. But if I click it back, then our correct key is selected. So, you know, a little bit of tweaking there to make it a little bit faster, but as you can see, anything other than that will stop it from giving its output. And if you look at the actual redstone, you can kind of see that all we're actually doing is checking if all of them are not on. And since all of them are not on, then we just do the output and extend the pistons. The next one is quite simple, and I'm going to show the process for this one so you can really get to look at it. So the first thing we do is we make sure that we can check and also still keep the data flowing. So how we do that is via this little system right here, where we can take the output up here, but the output can also continue on down here. Hope that makes sense. Then we think, what number are we checking for? We're checking for 0, 0, 1. So we would check if, hold on, I need to remember the order. So this is the bottom bit. So we would check if this one and this one are not on, and we just use target blocks because it routes the redstone line. You can see that right now it's going over here, but by placing a target block, it goes into there. And the rest of them is just for convenience. Yes, we check that this one and that one are not on, and that this one is on. And then we just take the output from that and run it up to our lever, like so. Perfect. So now we can see, currently the key is 0, 0, 0, and so this one is pushed out. But if we were to set it to 0, 0, 1, then that would retract. And this one would extend, like that. We may encounter a small spacing issue, which is of course the most dangerous problem to have, but hopefully it just kind of works out. I mean, we really got to figure out how to do this efficiently, because we're going to need to do a lot of keys for over here. So, yeah, hopefully we can figure it out. Just want to say, look at how much I knocked out too, dude. This thing is tiny. It's just this. But yeah, no, this is kind of like the messy side of binary, which is probably the least thumbnail worthy side of it. I mean, nah, that kind of looks cool actually. Just wanted to say, by the way, thank you guys very much. This channel has popped off a lot more than I expected, and I know I'm saying that with like 1,000 total views, just, you know, not a ton, but I was kind of expecting 0, so this is pretty awesome by comparison. I did not really expect anybody else to find this interesting, but you know, thank you guys very, very much. And you know, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe if you want to. If you don't, it's cool too. But yeah, just thank you very much for everybody who's subscribed, liked, and just watched the videos. Now that I've discovered the /clone command, doing stuff like this is probably gonna be the longest thing that I'm gonna have to do. This kind of thing where I can't just repeat, you know, do the same thing over and over again. And you know, I'm kind of okay with that, because I gotta say, the episode where I placed all of these, which I placed all of these wires here, these were not copy pasted at all, that was a rough one to record, because it just took a really long time and didn't really get me any more content, despite all the work that I put into it. And it wasn't even really work, it was just placing, you know. Little progress update, we're up to 5 here, which is the 6th option, which is gonna get confusing, I know, but do your best. The 7th option is now done. Actually, instead of cutting away and just doing it myself, I think I'm going to walk you through a little bit more of the process. So how I started doing this is I will flick on the levers that I am like going for, what I want the match to be. Like what the key to this one that I'm designing will be. And then I just go over here, I look right here. First of all, I need to make sure that I have enough space, because we're going to be building up a lot of stuff. So usually, this is where I'll decide that, yep, good enough. And despite the fact that there will be no more RAM, I'm going to choose to still use the same design, where I do this little circuit to let me continue on the charge. Then I just try to see what's going on here. Well, first of all, we need to check that this one and this one are both on. So we build an AND gate here. And then we need to check that this one is also on along with these two. So we just throw that together there and put it into an AND gate. And then there we go. That is our output. And then from there, we just run that. Oops. We put this one too small. We're gonna have to go this way a little bit. We just run that up to our output. And so now here we are. We have our full binary data selection circuit, our key system. Meaning now we can test out our full overall system. So let's save some data. Oh boy. Ooh. Just remembered something. We never did the bottom bit. Nope. We never. That realization has just added possibly another hour of work. I'm gonna see if I can fix it. Pray for me. Damn. Okay. I will see you guys in a minute. And by a minute, I mean probably an hour. I'm not even gonna say how long it took me to make this disgusting little system here. If you want to get a little look over here at the wiring I did in order to get these. Look at this one. Look at this. Look over. Look at this one. This is the worst one. The wiring I had to do to get this to work. But it worked. It worked out. So, you know, that's good. And as you can probably see, our data selection system is working now. We're going to select this one. And we get the proper output. We're just going to make sure that actually is what happened. So yeah, we selected this one. And it gave what we wanted. And so yeah, we have our output data extraction. Ooh, that's gonna be a really good that's going on the thumbnail. Data extraction system in Minecraft and binary. And I mean, this is gonna be a pretty good thumbnail too. This has been a good episode for making banger thumbnails. But yeah, this is pretty much all I have time for today. I've spent a decent amount of hours on this. And I'm going to spend a long time editing it because I have a lot of footage. But yeah, thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you have a good day. If you liked watching, then maybe consider subscribing, liking the video. But have a good day. Bye.